evening, folks, and welcome to tonight's hearing of the zoning board of adjustment for August 18th. I'm your chairman, Robert Brown. On the left end of the table is our vice chairman, or chairman of vice, Joe Plessner. And next to me is George Hellwick on the left. And we have Marina Sumner and Kathy Yo at the end. We only have the one case this evening. That would be case number 15-11, which is a variance application pursuant to zoning article Roman numeral 7 to allow for the construction of a residence which will encroach upon the front and side setback at High Street between 61 High and 40 Chestnut in the Village District, U7, Lot 18-3. Before we proceed with that, I would like to say that it's just been brought to my attention a little while ago that back in 2006, when this lot was subdivided, a plan was placed on file, and I was just wondering who's representing tonight. Are you, Lori?
Me.
Good. Are you aware of this plan?
I am.
Good. Have you ever considered placing the home where they suggested on that plan?
That would definitely have been easier, so I definitely considered it.
Mm-hmm.
The person that subdivided was the previous owner of the Tilton Manor. So in other words, I didn't ask for the subdivision. I ended up purchasing a result of the subdivision. And when I walked the property with the owner at the time, when he showed me where the boundary lines were,
Mm-hmm.
he described it to me different than my understanding of it. So when we moved forward with the project, which was intended to put a mostly one-story living type home, my plan is, I live in Tilton now. I live diagonally across the street from where this property is located. I live in a duplex with my mother. So the plan, though, is that it's very townhouse style where I live now. The plan was to put her across the street flat, so she wouldn't have to be doing stairs, but still near me. That meant, I originally was gonna live there. That was why I bought the property. I would have stairs, and I would be going up and down. But once you change the plan to a one-floor living, and you have to have your bedrooms downstairs, your wash and dryer have to be downstairs, that sort of makes you're going out rather than up. So when we were measuring everything out, we allowed for the setbacks, we realized, and then we discovered that an angle, have you seen, I did supply a picture, it's a strange angle, and I actually have just a rough sketch of it to discuss, to refer if you need to. It's, the way the angles were when you add the setback made it almost impossible, and that even made me go back and say, well, I remember the guy suggested a home site. Like, what did he suggest? Is it worth redoing this whole entire project and redoing the whole house? But he even has a cutout in the entire back of the house on that plan. He has an L-shaped, very thin, if you look at home plans, there are none that accommodate that tiny little section on the side. It's like 22 feet or something. Most houses are not.
The dimensions of that proposed home on that lot are very close to what you're suggesting.
They're not too dissimilar, and especially if we were to move the house forward, which would be ideal for a number of reasons. One, to get away from the creek. I think that would be ideal, to be further away from the brook, because that is the beauty of the property, is having the brook there.
Mm-hmm.
But also you want to be furthest away as you can. Moving the house towards the street allows just enough of the extra footage to have everything be the shape that it would need to be ideal, and get it away from the creek. And walking of the property, it's wooded in between those anyway, the property next to it, and there's not actually a home across from it. It's owned by a home, but they park.
Looks like a seasonal camp across the street.
Yeah, right, that's not like somebody's.
Yeah.
So in the end, it made sense, rather than attempting to design a whole new house and have to make it work, and it would be almost impossible thing to do. It made much more sense to say, well, let's ask for some space in that variance space and move forward.
Okay, well, we we ended up with pretty much a presentation where you stand.
Well, one thing I have not seen yet, done with the application, is an actual layout of the house and how you pose it on the lot. All I see is something with a couple of rectangles on it.
Yeah, none of us.
Do you have a plan for this house?
I did submit a drawing with the variance, do you not have one? And so the one I brought with me,
Yeah. Is this
No, that's,
is this what you're talking about, what you submitted?
yes,
Okay.
which I can explain, and I brought a bigger one.
He wants a house.
I want to see how you propose to put the
Well,
house
he's
on the
got the
lot.
plans with,
Is this,
Where the one
is
is?
this to refer
Yes,
to?
yeah.
Okay, so I draw a bigger one, just, this is not as exact as that, I actually made that mostly accurate, the one that I submitted, but this is, I've made just for a talking point. Essentially, this being the road and these being the setbacks, they have the, and I'll show you what's on that one that you mentioned. He draws the house here, and then he actually has a cutout of the, like, the entire
Yeah,
back,
so-
and that's how he makes that work, right? Because he accommodated that angle, and I was much younger when I started this, so it was lost on me, right? It was a learning curve for me. So, had I realized that he had done that, I may have even taken pause, like, I would back myself up against a corner behind this property if I had realized, especially with the brook and, so, moving away from that altogether towards the street happens to take you out of that predicament, away from the creek, but because of this angle, there's a few feet here, 3 or 4, I actually put 10 on there just to be safe, but because of that, even moving towards the street puts you a little bit in the setback of that neighbor towards the very end of the road, which is why I put both on there. But really, the street is the main thing that we're asking for. And the other thing is that all the homes on that street are close to the road.
You know, the
It's-
front porch is.
And mostly this will be
Not
front porch.
the primary structure of the house.
The actual house will be 16 feet away. It's
And
the
they're
porch.
uphill as well, so
Yeah.
from the street, which
And-
would be almost below grade.
Yeah, the house is definitely high up, and it's mostly the porch that's going to be, 6 feet is the porch. The house itself is 16 feet away.
To accommodate a ranch-style home, it's gonna be a cave, but unfinished, it's a ranch-style home, so she can live there in one level. It's 42 by 26. And in order to get the 42 by 26 and meet all the setbacks, we couldn't quite fit it in there. When we thought the property line was where it was supposed to be, or where she thought it was supposed to be, once we figured out, hey, wait a minute, we're not on, this is not part of that property because there's a weird angle that comes down. And to accommodate that, we just need to move it 3 or 4 feet up and close so that we don't interrupt any of the setbacks in the creek.
I'm assuming you're anywhere near a setback creek.
How are you going
To
to?
20 feet.
20 feet from the wetland, yes.
Yeah, but the creek follows the log this way, and so when it comes in the back of the house, if we don't move it sideways up the hill, the back corner
Very corner.
will be into that 20-foot setback.
Which is why the guy cut it off in the picture.
by a foot.
Yeah, we're over by a foot.
It's only.
Did you submit a plan for your building permit?
Yeah, we
Yes.
got one.
I know you got one. Did you see a plan for now?
He's got the plan.
I don't, well, I'm not Al,
No.
I'm
No.
sorry.
I
Yeah,
know.
those go to Al.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, Al's
Well,
got, he's
they're
got a
here.
set plan.
Did you get into his drawer?
I can take a look. I mean, I don't know, are we assuming that this drawing is inaccurate? Is this
No,
drawing
it's mostly-
inaccurate?
it's-
It looks to me, when I look at that drawing, it looks to me like you want to come forward to be 10 feet from the road.
Yeah.
I do. I
Okay,
want to
and I
come
think, well,
10,
that's
so half the
To the
setback.
porch.
So you're totally obliterating the setback and the purpose of the setback.
The setback's 20 feet. The normal
Well,
setback's 20 feet from the road. I would rather have my porch start 10 feet from the road. And that's similar to how the homes on the street are.
But you're not showing the porch on this, are you? Because if you're showing that, then that's saying the porch is half of the structure of the house. From the drawing that you've got.
You can't tell
I showed
what
the whole
is,
structure
what
of
is
the footprint.
house and
I
what is
understand
Yes.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
I
Can't
understand
really,
what you're saying.
can't really distinguish anything.
Well, I did that because I wanted the footprint to show. I didn't want it to be later said, well, that was porch. Well, you added porch after, but I did like the worst case scenario. In other words, I did the entire structure, including the porch. I could easily delineate the porch difference. The porch is mostly what's.
The
in
porch is
setback.
6 feet. That's it. So the house is actually, where we were proposing to put it, the house is 16 feet from the road. and so 6 feet, you know, from that coming out would give us a 10 feet. But the house, the main house is 16 feet from the road.
So if we were to ask for variance for the house only, I'd be asking for 4 feet.
Because by moving it forward a little bit and up a little bit, we get the 43 feet or 42 feet that we need.
So how are you getting a flat plan to build this house on? You know,
Oh, no, it's gonna be a garage under, you know, and we're gonna stick build the garage under. It's gonna be, you know, it's a perfect lot for that.
okay.
And we're taking, whatever fill we're taking out, we're putting in for the driveway, because we did the railroad ties already.
Are you cutting into anything on the embankment to the neighbor on High Street?
No,
Nope.
no, we won't be taking any of their.
Okay, so you're leaving that grade exactly as it is today?
Right, we're not changing the grade. We're not gonna change the grade, we're just gonna have a higher
No, I
foundation
didn't
there,
want to
and we'll
make
step
sure
it
you
in.
weren't cutting
To the
in.
neighbor, it would be 2 or 3
Oh,
feet.
yes, it would be 2 or 3
Because when
feet
you
into
move
the,
forward,
into the neighbors, yes.
because-
No, I'm talking about cutting into the ground.
No, no.
My concern was.
Oh, no.
Just for
just the
foundation.
Yeah, okay.
Because I
You're
need-
you're basically elevating the house up to that grade level with the
Yes.
neighbor?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
So it would match. And for 2 reasons. One, it would match, and it would, because that's the higher building spot. And I would like my mother to be able to get in a door there. I don't
Right.
want there to be, I need it to be flat on that side of the house, so it's gonna
Right.
stay.
I don't think I follow you. Let's
They're-
see what-
they're building-
What have you got, Darius?
Well, I have plans, but these were submitted showing a 20-foot setback, so I don't know if the structure,
It was submitted that way
Yep.
until we figured out where the
Okay.
right
But is
property
that,
line
Found
was.
the
is that exactly how the house is now, just move forward?
Yes, just
Right.
forward and
Okay.
over a little
Okay,
bit.
so we can
Yeah.
look at that and understand that that
Yeah.
is actually the house.
sorry,
Thank you, Doug.
yeah.
Okay, and this is a garage under, is what they were saying. So when you say a porch, it's just
It's
like
really,
an entry porch?
it's an entry
Yes.
porch.
Okay, so it's not the full length of the house?
Oh, no,
No.
just an entry porch.
It's, yeah, like, it'll
How-
have a little.
how-
It'll have a
easy
shed
walk.
roof on it, you know, and
Yeah.
we'll put some nice, you know, mahogany things underneath, and it'll have a light.
So if you wanted to build this on a single level place, and you've got a garage under, how do you propose that the resident's going to get from that garage under into the house?
Because he can let her off right there at the street level, right there.
So is there more than one?
No, so in other words,
Are there more than one elderly people living?
Well, he's 75 and you're,
He's a relative,
Okay.
he's doing this for me.
yeah, and he's gonna be living also.
So you're basically working as a caregiver type
Yes.
situation?
Yes.
Family.
Is there gonna be any ramps associated with this?
not yet,
No.
I guess we'll deal with that when it comes, but so far.
Not yet.
I-
Let's
I-
hope that it doesn't come to that, but yeah, no, not yet.
I can climb a couple of steps, but I'm very fractured in my spine. And I have
Mhm.
COPD and I'm
No.
legally blind.
The only reason I asked the question is because of
Asphalt.
what is gonna be proposed in the future.
Future,
Yeah,
I
no,
understand that, I
Okay.
understand that
And
question.
because
And if there
what we're doing
was,
Now it's kind of obliterating that unless you're gonna run it off to the side.
if there was, we'd run it off to the side.
Well,
We
plus
wouldn't,
it's
we wouldn't, we
back
wouldn't, we
door.
would never come back and ask for another variance for anything else.
Well, I just want to make sure I understand. So with this, so really, if there's
You
only
see that?
8 feet of this structure that's going to be 10 feet from the road, the rest of it is 16 feet from the setback?
Yes, the
From
porch is about 8
or
feet.
From the property
The
line?
porch is 6.
Wide.
Oh,
but-
6 feet, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
yeah.
So will be 10 feet from the road. The porch entrance will be 10
6
feet
feet
from
of
the
it,
road.
yes. will be-
Okay, so it's that 8 feet wide by 6 feet is sticking out from the
And
house.
she's, yes,
And that's 10 feet
away from.
away from the property line.
Correct.
And the rest is 16 feet, yes, yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, if I may, the fact that you mentioned property line and you mentioned road.
Yeah, it's-
And I think maybe at some point that needs to be visited.
Yeah, how close is the
think there's some unknowns there, where, and that may be something that, you know, the board deems needs to be sorted out. There's, obviously, it's known where the edge of the pavement is. What's known by me in terms of where the property line is, actually, I don't know exactly where the property line, I don't know if, you guys have been through that with Al?
I
or-
have, years ago, even on my own property in Chestnut Street, I was informed that this neighborhood where that is and where I live now, there's actually, you own to the street. So like, I even have bushes along the street that sometimes make a block view for the neighbors. And I work really far away and I'm an hour away, so I'm not often home. And I had them knock on the door and ask my permission. I said, well, isn't it yours technically? And they said, nope, not in this neighborhood and not up there. I actually have to, I said, go for it, you know, please, I'm not open to do it. If you want to cut it, that'd be great. But, so that's what my understanding was when these drawings were made.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Mr. Miller.
That's okay. No, I think I understand where we're going now.
Are you aware that the easement that the town has relative to the road is 20 feet from the center line?
I know it is for most of the town.
We will still most of the town, and it varies all over the place for the town. I used to be building inspector in town, and I mean, you went anywhere from 35 feet from center line to
Did it right on the
15
street.
feet from center line to, no, to the edge of the road.
Right.
So it's not the same all over, by any means, stretching the imagination.
Right.
But the thing is that does put it almost 10 feet onto your property to begin with. So if there's any sewer line or water lines, speaking of that, have you been in touch with the sewer and water people?
Yes.
So there's no problem with getting to the town?
No, the sewer line runs right through this property.
Through an easement for the Tilton Manor, so we
Yeah.
know right where it is.
I know it goes over there, I didn't realize it came off the road like that, though.
It comes off the road, goes right across the creek, and keeps on going.
Easterly. Oh, wait a minute, no,
It's in the corner of this lot, actually, it's in the wetland area.
I can see where the sewer easement is.
Yeah,
Okay, but I thought it ran to the east, and that everything here would go to the west. But being here downhill, would the line have come up far enough for you to tie into?
we've already discussed that with the sewer department, and they didn't seem to have an issue with it. They just want us to put a bigger clean out than what's normally put. They want us to put a manhole cover when we set that, so, you know, if they would've had a problem with the way it ran, I would think they would've brought it up.
Sure, back when it was done, you know, whoever thought that Tilton Manor would subdivide into four, you know, and so that was how they were able to.
I was here when they did that subdivision.
Oh, were you?
We questioned in the beginning,
Yeah.
this whole lot situation.
So you remember the guy that did it?
Oh, yes, oh, yes.
Yeah, he walked this whole property with me, and he didn't really give me a totally accurate description of where everything was. It was close, but it was.
Well, it's like pulling teeth when they subdivided it too.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that wasn't unusual. I just remember that this particular lot of this group is problematic to begin with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we really never thought anybody would build on this lot.
Well, and you know, I asked the town before I bought it.
Well, it is a lot of record, there's no question you can build on it.
Yeah,
And they-
it's a learning curve.
They can show the fact that they could get a home on there, and I can see we can get a small home on there, no question about that. But it wasn't with the anticipation of having to do variances to expand the home
Exactly.
beyond what they proposed. This is where the problem comes from, which is why you're here tonight.
Yes.
But getting back to the sewer issue. Are you putting are you paying to put the line in to get to the sewer line, or are they?
No, we are.
You already are,
Yeah.
okay. I'm surprised they were that willing to bring it up, if they have to bring it up the road.
It's expensive.
See if I could put a water line in back when I moved here 30 years ago. Or at least they wouldn't run the 300 feet to get the water line to me, so.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah, most of the time when you're building and stuff like this comes up, the builder's always responsible for the cost of such things. So,
Are you doing the building, or is it
yes,
a professional builder that's?
I am a builder.
You are the builder?
Yeah.
Your company is local?
I'm Johnny Chester.
We don't like that, just.
I'm building a mountain right now in Bosquen.
I just looked at the place on, near MNERN last night for a home over in Rochester.
Oh, really?
And I was sad and disturbed by the fact that the taxes on it for 16 grand a year.
I know, that's a problem. It's a problematic tax. We have no industry there, it's just, you know,
I was
it's
very
expensive.
similar to what I had, and had 50 acres like I had, and I just, I'm thinking myself, God, my taxes are only like 7,500.
Right.
And grand more.
Yeah, no, I got 71 acres there, and all of it's in current use. I got 1.6 that's not, and my taxes are still over 7,000 a year, so
You know, that's,
it's expensive. It's an expensive town.
I'm not gonna do it.
No. Tilton is great. Taxes is a wonderful
Taxes
town.
aren't that bad.
No, comparably speaking to a lot of towns, Tilton is very, very desirable.
That's right.
I love it, you know, and originally, like I said, I was going to be the builder, and I thought, well, great, because the sewer's right there, the utilities are right there, and the would be close, and there's so many reasons to do it, but I, in my ignorance, didn't realize, looking at the little suggested house and having her walk me through, now I'm a lot smarter. I did do some research back then, even back then I contacted FEMA, make sure the book wasn't gonna be a problem, but you run into things you don't expect, you know, the guy that surveyed it is not with us anymore. So when the second question came up and I had saved my, Wheeler.
Yeah, he died.
So I couldn't contact him to back me up, I had to pay to have the whole thing surveyed all over again.
Just for FEMA, flood zone.
Flood zone, yeah.
So then we were good to go, and it was like measure once, you know, check twice, we were like double checking when we discovered this angle problem. I'm going, what? We were out there checking, rechecking, and here
If
we
you
are.
talk about this angle problem, would you point out to where on this, where you talk about the angle problem? Is this what you're
So,
referring to back
yeah,
there?
so this, see the shape?
Right.
So technically the setback, but you see, he
Yeah,
actually has the setback.
Right, it's parallel.
And I probably should have known based on this drawing, but when I walked in with Kurt, this is so wooded, he told me it was a straight line. So, and it actually mows that way, in other words, the neighbor only mows to here, they've only ever mowed to there, I've had this property 10 years, they've mowed to here. So when we set it up, it would have gone and like to here, and it would have been fine, the 20 feet, we measured it off, taped it, but when we double checked going this way,
We
the
pulled
pin.
170 feet from the pin down
We
there.
found the pin after searching with.
And then we
metal
found out,
detectors
there's a
to
problem
make sure.
here.
And I'm like, he's like, why did, your house is way over here. I'm like, we were probably like, what? Thinking it was here. I mean, that's a huge difference, like that angle.
Yeah, it did make a big difference.
So moving toward, you know, so that was the whole, we're trying to take this and make it go.
And your proposed size, 26 by 42?
Yes.
Is that what you guys on there?
Just under 1,000 square feet. And 92. Let me take a break here and see if our only guest this evening would like to comment for or against.
You just want to.
Go
I'm just, I'm on a fact-finding mission.
Okay. Thanks, Joe.
Well, thanks for
That's
being here.
fine. Yes.
I love the zoning board. I have no real life.
I was just gonna say.
He's a zoning board groupie.
We need at least one.
Well, thank you for being here. Okay, so much for public sentiment then. Let's go back to the business at hand. We run down through the,
Sure think of asking that neighbor if he'd sell you that little piece of land.
You know what's funny?
She's not around.
What's the sale?
I,
Yeah.
it just went for sale, I made a joke, I said to her,
maybe I'll go next door to you again.
We
Joking, I'll make an offer to that woman, I'll look her up since through this process, I do have her address, and that next morning, the sign went up. But I'm like, let's see how much problem it is. I don't think I need this thing for
It'd
that
be
yet.
easier to buy that home, and not fight the problems associated with it, not that I want to put you out of work. but,
No, that's all right, I got plenty of work.
I asked him that, I said, well, if I lived there, could I just, he said, no, because you'd have to subdivide again.
Well, you
I
have
know.
to do,
You want to do
you
one
want a lot
Yeah.
line adjustment,
Right.
you can do a
Would
lot
you like
line
to see that?
adjustment.
I've created enough work for myself.
Yeah, that's simple enough to do.
Put it in a drone, I don't know.
It's probably Google Maps with the line setting. Is that, how do you do that there?
Oh, no, that's GIS, that's an
GIS.
actual.
You did that?
uh, Sort of, I mean,
You
Kind
reprinted
of,
it
sort
all.
of, nobody knows who took it, just
You
wanted to
No, no,
take it.
it's an aerial image taken, it's available, most of that data is available through the state. The orange, the lot lines are something that UNH Cooperative Extension worked with the town of Tilton to create. And I have all that, available, I can, click on and off all the layers. Yeah, it's not 100% accurate.
Maybe we should get you a drone.
What was that?
Thunder, I don't.
I thought it was a motorcycle. I said, oh, motorcycle.
Oh, really?
Oh,
It might be.
Yeah, it was, when I left the house, it was in Concord, Williams Lake.
Oh, jeez.
Any other questions for these folks?
Well, I guess, I want to be clear now, we're talking about the structure being 26 by 42. And you're talking about the structure now going into the front setback by 4 feet. Correct? Not counting the porch.
Not counting the porch.
Yes, correct.
right, yes.
Okay, so that's gonna leave you, and you're gonna, how big the porch is?
It's just gonna be like a 6 feet deep, probably 5 feet wide.
So the
I
porch
think
is
it was
gonna.
8.
It's really
Was it 8?
It's
Is it 8?
on the drawing.
Right,
Stoop.
it's kind of like what the
Yeah.
neighbor has, really.
Well, but you could have a rocking chair at the plants, it's big enough to
Is
get
it 8
in,
feet?
and I think it's 8 feet.
8 feet wide.
Yeah.
It's 8 feet.
8 feet by 5 feet,
6 feet.
6 feet, 8 feet by 6 feet, so it's coming right out to it 10 feet from the road.
Yeah. That's what they're saying.
Everybody's sitting on that porch when the wind plow comes by.
Well,
That's-
when the plow comes by, nobody's gonna be sitting on the porch. It's gonna be too cold.
Pile doesn't go that fast, but it does make good piles.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So, we've determined that we're not gonna be cutting into the hill. That the lower level of the house on the floor will be at the grade of the westerly end.
Well, hey,
Am I
like,
correct?
Yeah.
when you and I went out and looked at that property, from standing on the road, it looked like it rose 2.5 to 3 feet above the road level.
Yeah.
Now, are you gonna level that off with the road?
It will
Take
be
the fill
level.
and put it into where those railroad
Right.
ties are?
Right, that's gonna be the driveway.
What are you gonna do with that railroad ties right away?
Those are like 100 years old now, so.
I know, yeah.
Another 100 years, they'll.
I know, but when you pile.
Yeah, how do you-
pile,
are you gonna drain
sand up
that?
against them.
So that the hydronic pressure doesn't push it over.
No, we got dead
He's
man
got
in there.
dead, he's got
Oh,
dead.
okay.
We're doing it right.
So you got
I
it.
mean, oh, yeah. Yeah, it ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, okay.
Well, not for 10, 20 years, it won't anyway.
Well, not for 30 or 40, I would
At
imagine.
some point, that just look like, at some point it's going to require rebuilding, is what I'm getting at.
Right, but not in our lifetime.
Well, maybe mine, but.
She's planning on sticking.
All right, touche.
Yeah, me too.
Speak for yourself.
Not in my lifetime.
Well, gravel and
Yeah.
landscape fabric create a barrier, the soil against the stone is big, huge, it's
Yeah.
drainage and for longevity.
Okay, we can do that,
Yeah.
certainly.
That's where I would go.
It's really not part of this.
Right,
Right,
no, that's just.
No, but it's a
general
helpful
discussion.
suggestion.
It's your
You know.
discussion.
So,
We looked at
we
it.
end up with a 6-foot porch.
Yeah. 8 foot wide, 6 foot.
which, you know, what we still don't have, and we should have for the record, is a drawing showing this, because we don't have that. This is where I was going from the very beginning.
We don't
We
know.
do not have an accurate drawing showing what it is you're asking for.
Can I see the drawing
When we saw the application, that doesn't,
Right, right.
that doesn't tell us.
I understand what
You
you're
know,
saying.
that's-
Something lines there.
It doesn't
So,
actually
well,
give a
actually-
footprint of the house.
So here's, this is what, that's why I put a key. This is the existing setback, and then the requested setback is red. So the existing setback is the green.
Right.
Right.
What he's talking about
And the
is
house.
actually the
And it shows the house
footprint
going
of the
in.
house.
Yeah, that's
With-
right here.
Yeah, but
That's
doesn't
totally
show your
inaccurate.
porch.
What's you?
That's totally
You see what I'm
inaccurate.
saying? It needs to have the shape
Right.
Yeah, it's hard.
of the,
It's hard
it's hard for us to
distinguish the
tell.
porch from the
Because
house
it
from
looked
the
to me
driveway.
like that was the outside wall of the house
All right,
Mhm.
okay.
That was yours, right?
when I looked at
It's
it.
whatever, it's, yeah, you can take it.
So I think if nothing else, we have to get that as part of this plan, so that anybody in the future that would,
Can see.
that would question a variance of this type, wherever we go with it, would have a record of what is truly being asked for here.
Right, I understand.
So we don't, because when I first saw it, I thought that was the whole foundation of the house coming up
Right.
to 10 feet from the road.
That's what I.
Oh, right, no,
Yeah.
that's
You're right,
fine.
because it's a square, it does look that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want it to look, I wanted it to be obvious the amount I was asking for.
If this someone built your house there, you might not be pleased with the outcome. Or get it, you really need, you know, more detailed drawings when you're trying to get things like this done, so that we understand better where you're going with the whole thing.
Okay.
Which is why all the last 20 minutes of questioning has gone down.
Right, right.
But I think we know what you want, but I think no matter what, we would want a drawing. You can hand draw it again, I'm not looking for professional drawing, but something truly showing what you're,
Exactly what it is.
what you're talking about, the outline of the house and the porch as being separate from the house, relative to the road,
Right.
and showing the dimension from the road back to the porch, whatever.
Yep, I know what you want.
Well, I can, because I can adapt this.
Yeah, it's back with the,
No, that's
well,
not, that's
Yeah.
porches on this side here.
This one's mostly correct, spatially, so I'll just
Porches
adapt this one to
within
the
that
correct house.
line. I know, that's what I said, you can't see the shape.
I don't know where you're going with that. It's
I
not what
can easily redo the drawings.
It's a simple drawing to do.
Yes.
We're not talking, if it takes you longer than 5 minutes to draw,
Yeah.
you need to know the
I
right.
can draw it now.
Well,
Do that.
I wrote it.
Whatever it says.
has everyone had an opportunity to review the 5 tests for variance that were submitted? Do you have to read those?
Oh, yeah.
Any questions? Okay, if we, ranked,
But that's what her picture, she drew the line all the way across.
yeah,
So that's why it's
yeah,
up there.
this is more what we wanted right here.
Yeah, almost exactly like that would be perfect.
This doesn't have that, whatever that thing is, looks like a chimney on the back of the house.
I bet it was a plan first.
I think you got a little chimney right there, at the back.
It's a little sun porch.
Breakfast, just a little breakfast, you know.
So this is gonna be added on?
Is that suspended?
Yes.
Yeah, it would be on sonotubes.
Cantilever.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
sonotubes. Or we could even cantilever, because it's not, it doesn't come out that far.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Next.
I think we're clear on what they want to do. Now it's just a question. Question I think needs to be asked, is it showing this 24 by 40 foot drawing on here? And you're only going to 26 feet. So why are you going 4 feet into the fence, 4 additional feet in, when you only need but 2?
The 26 rather than the 24, you mean?
Right.
The reason why is because we're doing an unfinished cape. And in order to get stairs according to code now, you need a 26-foot wide home in order to get your,
How's that problem, 26 foot wide home, but I'm getting a wide, I don't just want to go 2 feet into the setback.
I'm not getting
It's
it.
already allowed at 24.
Assuming that this drawing here where they're showing the 24 by 40,
Right,
lies, the 40 feet lies right on the 20-foot setback.
right.
Okay, if you want to go 22 feet, 26 feet, why don't you just go 2 feet into the setback rather than 4?
Are you talking about
Oh,
on the
right,
neighbor's
okay.
side?
Well,
No. I think.
because of the
because of
length
that,
is a little longer, we have to come in, because the creek comes up towards the back of the house. The further back we push the house, the closer we get to the creek. So the further forward we push to the house, we stay away from the creek and we're not anywhere within that 20 feet that it needs to be. The house, the way it's sat, we'd have to chop the corner off the house.
We wanted to make sure the
I'm
creek
not
was
talking
not
about
an
going
issue.
back, I'm talking about coming
Forward,
forward.
yeah, we
Right,
can
no, I
press-
understand what you're saying.
How's that?
We can't, well, you're asking why we can't do the 26
I-
rather than the 24.
I think
No.
it goes back to your conversation about the angle.
Yeah, it does. With the brook and that, it becomes skinnier.
Even when they did this, they cut off a section of the house, so that, if they had made that completely squared, it would have been too close to
The setback of the
to
creek.
the setback of the creek. So in order to get a
Oh, okay.
square house, you have to
Move
pick
it
up a
forward.
couple of feet.
And,
Right.
and the other.
So that makes, that 2 plus the other 2 is the 4 feet.
Years ago, when I talked to Al to begin with, and I first was talking to him about this before I didn't realize it would be on hold, he said to me, I'd rather see you get a variance and be as far as you can away from the creek. I remembered him saying that to me, so I
Right,
knew
which
that
makes
the town
sense,
would
yeah.
prefer that, and I said, well, that just definitely gets us away from the creek going forward. It solves a lot of the problems in that one on top of it.
Okay, I understand now why you, why you're going to 4 feet. And, and you're also going, according to this drawing, 10 feet into the side setback too?
We're asking for 10, we're not gonna use that much, but the thing is, we're so tight that I'm asking for 10 so that we can, we're gonna take the least amount of setback for you guys, for the town, and for the side setback that we can, the least amount. But I'm gonna have a surveyor out there to mark our foundation, you know, to make sure that where we need to be. You know, where I think we only need 4
I
to
think
go
it's
up the
gonna be
hill.
4, yeah, that's what it's realistically gonna be going up that hill.
But it's so tight, I don't wanna just say 4 and then need 6.
Or then it, then it became 4.5 because of the way the guy cut the thing. I didn't wanna look, I wanted to just do that.
I wanna make it right, I mean,
Here's my thoughts relative to, the way you're encroaching and proposed encroaching on these setbacks.
Right.
That in the future, if you were to have guests or anything else, where are they gonna park other than on the street? Whereas, they could, you actually could have a driveway in your side setback. You don't have to go over to the east side, okay? Or you can have both. But the point is, if you're gonna chew up the setback on the side, then you can't even use that for a driveway or a place where you park a
the
car.
driveway's gonna be wide enough to accommodate a couple cars, and then we're gonna have a garage under, so.
No, you're talking about on the east side, I'm talking
Yeah,
about the other side
oh,
of the
right,
house.
right, on the other side.
Okay.
Yeah, the plan is just to have a walking path there anyway, for my mother to get in and out there, or be dropped off there. I mean, it would be awesome to be able to have parking there, I agree, I thought of that too, but I'm like, I'm already trying to get this done. Well, I'm trying to, I would love that. I
You need
would.
the earth to fill in the other part of the.
It would be
the driveway.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, for
Yeah.
groceries for her, I mean, yeah, I would love it, but I just didn't think asking for that seemed like a lot.
It just takes away the option of using a side setback or
Right.
something.
No,
That's
right.
what you're doing.
Right, right.
Just,
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, they're not concerned with at this time.
and I just say,
It's a lot,
excuse me?
it's a lot. It's pretty big.
Yeah, I don't like giving away half the side setback like that. It's,
I mean, the distance between the property line and the house is substantial, 60 feet anyway. So, I mean, we're not encroaching like on the house itself, we're just taking,
no, I'm not,
I mean,
Oh, no,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
nothing to
it's
do with
not,
that.
it's, yeah,
Right,
the
nothing to
house
do with
is
that.
up on this side of the
Right,
lot, yeah.
yeah.
so
Right.
That's all I said.
But your lot is limited to what it is.
Right.
And how we addressed the inequities of that lot, if you will,
Yeah.
is something that you perhaps live with from here on out. Okay, I think I've kind of brought everything to light that I had concern about. I'll just turn it back to you. You know where you are with it.
Well, if there aren't any other questions for these folks, we'll go ahead and close it to public discussion, and I'll turn it over to the board to work on. I was reading this afternoon, reviewing RSA 674:33. I think you're familiar with it.
Start reading it. I haven't been there for a while.
It says, this is Roman numeral 5, paragraph Roman numeral 5, notwithstanding subparagraph 1B, which has to do with the 5 tests for variance. Any zoning board of adjustment may grant a variance for terms of a zoning ordinance without finding a hardship arising from the condition of a premises subject to the ordinance when reasonable accommodations are necessary to allow a person or persons with a recognized physical disability to reside in or regularly use the premises, provided that subparagraph A says any variance granted under this paragraph shall be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance. And B, in granting any variance pursuant to this paragraph, the zoning board of adjustment may provide in a finding included in the variance that the variance shall survive only as long as the particular person has a continuing need to use the premises. Interesting.
And going back to what we were talking about, I hadn't touched on it, but I've, in all honesty, forgotten about it, but it is true. Anything that the board does give as far as, and of course, really, we're just talking a porch, so that's not the issue. It's only if you needed ramps or things of that nature that we could grant you a variance, but if you turned around and sold the house to someone who did not have disabilities of any type,
Right.
it would have to be removed. I will not really there on this yet, because the porch is not, and there's no way to.
No, it's pretty drastic
Disability.
in this particular instance. I just thought I'd bring it to light.
Just to muddy the waters.
Yeah.
We didn't have enough.
Because it is a question, you know, what happens when that individual what do you do? What happens with the property when the intended use changes? Yes.
Okay, you're suggesting that that is an issue here? Huh?
Not necessarily, no.
Oh,
But whereas they made an issue about it in the application itself, answering the various
Mhm.
tests
Yes, it is.
regarding,
That was one of the.
by using that as, you know, the emphasis for a lot of these to begin with.
Chairman, just one thought on that. I think in this case, it would be impractical to expect the setback to be vacated if property is sold to someone without a disability.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't be able.
Could I also, since I'm talking, take advantage and keep going? It seems to me there are a couple things up in the air. One being the zoning board doesn't have that diagram that you're requesting in front of you to look at. The other being, I think, I'm not sure everyone's gonna wind up in agreement. You know, if we had a group of 20 people in here affiliated with the town, I'm not sure there'd be consensus that that property line is right at the road. And I wonder if that needs, if it might make sense, and actually benefit the applicant to try and get that answer.
I hear what you're saying, but in the 13 years that I've worked in here, I think you're gonna have trouble finding that answer.
Okay.
Probably.
Because all the time I was here as inspector, okay, I considered the edge of the road being the front edge of the property line. Because other than things that are specifically surveyed to show that you would have a line that shows something different, for example, of which there's an awful lot of unsurveyed lines or very inaccurately surveyed lines. You're not going to find an answer to that question. So I think if we just continue to assume that the edge of the road is the edge of the property, and if the town needed to widen the road, they have the easement anyway to do it in. So,
In this case, it appears that the town actually owns 40 feet somewhere along High Street, so it is maybe more than an easement, so maybe something to consider, I think.
I know what you're, I read what you're talking
Okay,
about,
all right.
but it doesn't establish that fact.
I agree with everything you're saying. The only concern I have is that, it's in terms of efficient government, I guess. It's nice to have a decision that's clear where and both for the town and for the applicant to be able to go with this with the notice of decision and act on it. My thought would be is maybe in response to a fear I have that they would get this a notice of decision and immediately there would be controversy on its heels about where that front property line is, and everyone would be, the applicant who came seeking resolution would be right back in a messy situation.
What have you got in mind, you say a controversy about, where would that come from?
Someone, they're typical person who walks into into the office. You never know who it's going to
But
be.
they would have to know something that you don't know.
There's no way to tell where the center line of the road is.
People come into the office claiming to know things all the time. It happens on a daily basis.
Yes, I
People,
know, and then they
So-
show me where you get your information from.
that's fine. Okay, so a surveyor that is a way of finding that line. That's exactly right. That would be a way of getting a definite answer.
Isn't that what they already got done?
No, the town is required to do surveys on their own roads. I mean, and we don't know where the center line is. That it used to be a paper road a long time ago. And brought in fill, maybe the road went around this way, maybe we own a lot more than we think we do.
If I follow the
We don't
drain to
know.
my house I
We
live
don't
in
know.
now, the town actually put a drain in on my property,
Yeah,
where I live now.
On your property or in their easement?
In both, it's a big chunk of the space is now around paved.
she goes right to the road.
And if you follow the actual, way into the building, if you follow
Well,
my.
we all own to the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm saying, if you follow the actual footage of, and this is just side
Yeah.
conversation, to Chestnut Street where I live. I actually did it one day with a full-on tape measure. I'm way out in the middle of the road.
Your property, Okay, Joe, as selectman of the town, I suggest that you do what you can to iron this whole problem
Oh
out.
no, the drainage is good. You need that drainage. No, leave it alone.
If the drain is in the right of way,
No, the drainage is good. Sorry, she brought it up.
that's raining.
Raining good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Yours is working
look.
wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you parked up in the wrong direction, sorry.
Okay,
They'll keep the meeting going long enough.
so the easement issue is still a question.
Uh,
How far it goes back from the center, where the center line is.
I'm willing to consider that the 20 feet is really based upon the center line. Leave it that and the edge of the property, for all intents and purposes, it is the edge of the road.
From the edge of the road. 20 feet. Front
her,
setback,
her front property line
yeah,
would be the edge of the
the edge of the
road.
road, yeah.
So measuring back from the edge of the road to the front of the main structure would be 16 feet.
Yeah, 16.
And the porch coming out another 6 feet. So the front of the porch is going to be
10 feet.
10 feet from the road.
And there's gotta be an easement in there somewhere. On the edge of the road.
I think the easement runs right up to the front porch.
I think you're right.
What about the other house down the street? So they're pretty much
They
the
come
same
out?
distance.
Just, sorry, again, I don't think it's an easement in this case, I think it's, ownership. It's a quitclaim deed where, Albert Boudreaux granted the land to the town.
You say the
40
town
feet
might
strip.
actually own outright the property up to the, what would be the front porch?
40-foot strip, and I would say that, it may not be known where the road sits within that 40-foot strip. It might not be dead center within that 40-foot strip. But that's really getting complicated. I think maybe a reasonable assumption to say, all right, we just can't figure out exactly where, how the road winds through this 40-foot swath. Let's assume we know where the road is because there's pavement there. Let's assume center line, it's 20 feet on either side. That would automatically go 10 feet off the edge of the pavement, approximately 8 to 10 feet, whatever, or more, 12 feet off the edge of the pavement. So then if they were granted a setback, if they left here thinking they got a 10-foot setback and that they could build within 10 feet of the pavement, and then someone were to come forward and say, no, you were granted an easement, or a variance allowing you to come 10 feet to the front property line. Somebody says the front property line is 10 feet off where the edge of the pavement. Now they're right back at 20 feet. Even though they came here to get a variance, they're right back at having to be 20 feet back from the edge of the pavement. And, hence that controversy that I was pointing to.
Assuming that the road is in the correct spot. You're assuming that just because it's tarred,
I think it's
in the right spot.
It's no, I addressed that in sort of at the beginning of my little speech here, saying that we wouldn't know where the road necessarily sits within that 40-foot swath, and a reason. No.
You really, well, I'm trying to understand where you're going with this whole thing, because how could you ever resolve it?
That's not, that's the resolution. We could go on and talk about ways to resolve it, but I don't think that's, the fact is, the zoning board, I'm not sure that there's an opportunity here for the zoning board to make its own call on where the property line is. And so,
That's what we're gonna have to do.
okay,
I'm sorry.
okay, I understand
It
why
all
you feel you have
comes
to go
down
that way.
We just
Yep,
gotta go with what we've got.
I understand.
Whatever it is relative to the edge of the road, keep it simple.
Anything
I don't
else?
know how else you go in.
I think it keeps it simple for tonight. My fear is that, okay, so
Yeah.
I know that there are lots of people keeping an eye on this particular project, all right? So the likelihood of controversy is great. Maybe that's not, that's just the situation. I'm only, if anything, trying to help, make sure that tonight's
I understand.
meeting
We
doesn't
appreciate that.
generate.
Yeah,
Right.
interesting. A lot of people are keeping their eye on it. Oh, okay. Anything else?
Why are you keeping an eye on it? The board
It's
is in,
exciting in this neighborhood. This has been not a new house in this neighborhood in
the board is in
60
the driver's
years.
seat.
It's a big deal.
Jeffy's lined up and down the road. Coolers and-
But I understand what you're trying to raise. I
Yeah.
just don't know how it would ever be resolved.
I agree.
Nor
Right.
do I think that the zoning board would have any authority to
Yeah.
actually make a definitive answer other than what we say relative to the road, the edge of the road.
You know,
Yeah, or I would even say the zoning board, you know, what's been requested is a variance from the setback. The setbacks talk about property lines. So I would say the zoning board, you guys could definitely, and it wouldn't be messy at all, say we're deny or grant this variance to come 10 feet from the front property line. So, and the zoning board's done, you've done your thing. I'm saying sort of maybe, you know, as someone,
Cautious.
yeah, right, who's gonna be, you know, maybe watching this project before and after this meeting takes place, but I guess the point is, you're right, there may not be a way to take that into account, and you guys have a case that you need to rule on. I just wanted to bring it forward for discussion.
Superior Court.
Yeah, I think we'll
I
just-
understand,
I think
I'm
we'll
just saying that, I'm just saying, in the interest, if there's any way to bring efficiency and clarity,
Yeah.
but certainly I wouldn't suggest doing so, you know, at the expense of side, you know, skirting your duties as a CBA, and that may be the case, that there's no way to
Yeah, we'll work on that,
account
all
for
right,
it.
thank you.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and move forward.
Okay. One contingency I just want to get in with regards to whatever we do, would be that we get a drawing reflecting the true outline of the structure and the porch before this variance would be valid.
Yeah, I had written down an accurate drawing of footprint.
Okay, we're going to cover that.
I don't know, is that sufficient?
That's what we're looking for,
Structure.
okay, that's nothing more, nothing less. So that anybody in the future would look at it and know exactly what we're talking about.
I understand that.
I can bring it to you tomorrow.
We need two copies of the file too, right? Don't you need two copies?
Well, probably one for this file and one for the card file.
I mean, yeah,
You got a copy.
exactly, scanner, copier,
We
yeah.
do too.
Well, last time I did them, all three of them by hand 3 times. He's laughing at me, I'm like, well, I wanted them to be color coded.
Well, unfortunately, at least I received it in black and white. So,
Yeah, it's not
so it
always
made
sense.
very little sense to me at
No,
all
I
when
was
I was
able to
looking
bring
at
it.
it.
That
I-
would.
We get him an email.
Thank you, Mr. Howard, did you hear that? Mr. Howard was able to print just fine in color.
Color. I did get it in color.
You did get it?
And he got the same email everybody else.
Oh, I could have gotten it in color. Oh, actually, my wife comes in a murder.
Can we get back to order, please? Jeez. This is all great, but, yeah,
We'll go back to mailing these things out like they did when I was in the office.
okay, so we're talking about the need for an accurate drawing of the structural footprint.
Okay.
That's fine. Hey, do we have any other things that might present a concern, aside from front property line, which we could avoid?
Just don't want to get involved with that, to be honest with you. I would just ask the board in general a question is, how do you feel about what we talked about relative to the encroachment of the porch up to the 10-foot?
Trying to keep going in line with all the others.
I kind of see that photograph here, thank you. And again, I don't know what that was. When we were over there the other day, this is the lot here in question. And we're looking to figure the sidewalk about 4 feet and then the distance up to the porch being another 6 feet. So that would be about comparable to what the other homes along the way.
That was the impression I got driving up there.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said earlier, the only difference is that they're elevated above the road. Where
Whereas this is
I
pretty much.
guess this one will be too, actually, this
Yeah.
porch would be.
Because the basement's going to lift it higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that-
So it's going to be out of
Yeah,
range,
sport.
roughly with the houses along the street.
Right.
Okay.
I would consider a motion to in effect to allow that part of it to go as requested for. Now, side setback, I still have a little problem with that. I'd like to see enough room over there for at least a car to sit there, a guest or whatever, rather than parking on the road, so,
Yeah.
to allow an encroachment, say, 5 feet into the side setback,
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. That's a pretty good compromise.
okay, can you live with
We
that?
can do that, yeah.
So, my motion would be to approve the variance Are you writing this or just all?
Yeah, I am actually, I'm trying to,
To approve the variance as requested to encroach
Mhm.
4 feet into the front setback with the primary structure. Road on,
10 feet.
and 6 feet let me just reword that. In the 6x8 porch,
Mhm.
added to the front of the primary structure. Leaving the minimum of 10 feet
Mhm.
between the front of the structure and edge of the road.
Mhm. Okay.
The side setback encroachment would be to allow the southwest corner of the primary structure to go no further than 5 feet into the side setback.
That's quite a motion.
Okay, I need a glass of water. Right here.
That's a full paragraph. Want me to read it back here?
No, I wanted to make it perfectly clear after the.
I-
Did you get all that?
I'm fully yellow.
I did, but yeah,
It's clear, isn't it?
it is,
Don't complicate it.
I'll just say it one more time. The variance requested, and I feel, the zoning board might be sticking more to replying to what was requested than instead of saying from the edge of the road, saying from the front property line. Change edge of road to front of property line.
That
And then
makes
you really
sense.
haven't mired yourself into
Hold on a minute.
what you know is a
Hold on a
We don't know
minute.
where-
complicated, right? Right.
We don't know that.
You don't even know,
That's
with
why
an
we're not saying
18-foot wide road and
Just
a
say,
40-foot swath of ownership, I would say it might not, I might be more prudent to say, we don't know where the property line is. Wherever that may be, we're giving you 10 feet from that.
Let's just reword it and say 10 feet from setback, period. And avoid all that. edge of the road.
Okay, they just don't use the terms edge of the road.
Yeah, that's all,
And
that's
just
what I'm gonna
change that
take
to
out.
front property line. Okay?
Exactly, thank you.
Between 10 feet between structure and front, structure and front property. Okay. That's better. Does that make you happy too, though?
Yes, thank you.
Stop drawing.
Thank you. Okay,
Yep. You can do that.
now, you read your version and I'll see if it can comply with mine.
Oh, boy. I was counting on the fact you were taking good notes, but I have mine
Oh,
are
I
decent.
can give you mine.
Well, let's see. Motion to approve the variance as requested, to encroach 4 feet into the front setback with the primary structure plus allowance for a 6x8 additional porch added to the front.
The
Primary structure.
No closer than 10 feet to the
No, the
property.
maximum of 10, a minimum of 10 feet between the front of the structure and the front property
Yeah,
line.
it says leaving a minimum
Leaving them, yeah, there's the word I can, yes, leaving a minimum, I got it.
of 10 feet between the front of the structure and the front property.
Property line, side setback encroachment to allow southwest corner of primary structure to go no further than 5 feet into the side setback.
Perfect, Artie. And then on the condition,
When did you,
oh, we better do the motion first. Yes, we do.
no, well, the condition's part of the motion. You got that up. You read it down?
The other condition was that the applicant provide 2 copies of an accurate drawing of structure footprint, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was that a
That's it.
condition?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you get that condition?
I added it as you said it, yeah.
Okay, well, everybody seems to be in agreement. So, we have a motion. Thank you, Joe.
I'll
Anybody, George is gonna second that. Any other discussion then? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Okay.
Thank you.
Done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'll
Very
bring that
good.
tomorrow.
Appreciate your
I'm sorry.
I'll bring
cooperation.
that
No,
tomorrow.
thank you.
Yes,
Best
you know
of
what,
luck
yeah,
up
that-
there.
That will, more or less submit.
Got a lot of work to do.
The whole
Yeah,
thing, if you really
we've
want
already
to
done a
do
lot
valid,
there.
I know.
otherwise you'll have to tear it down without a variance.
And then how does that work? After I bring the drawings, is it get something?
You-
Do I
yeah.
put in a file
You
with
get
my?
a-
Get a notice of decision.
You'll get a notice of decision.
Okay.
Has the other stuff on it.
It doesn't matter. Don't even bring that
Yeah,
up,
like
because
they
nobody
said,
knows.
Nobody
So I
knows, so
could-
yeah, it
it's
doesn't
approved
matter.
either way. Sounds like.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go on.
Thank you
Anybody
so
got a
much.
satellite image of this thing?
Yeah, right.
50 years ago?
You can come to talk and. Thank you.
You know what, you want to say something?
Oh, he was joking about images from houses from a long time ago.
Oh.
My friend's dad grew up in Tilton, and he was a pilot, and he actually has aerial photos from the turn of the century up to
Oh, nice. Who was your dad?
Tilton. It was my friend's dad.
Yes.
Chuck Lawrence.
I know Ken very well, he's a pilot.
Yeah.
Wow.
So maybe,
We both look
maybe this is the
pretty
guy you're
similar.
talking?
So Chuck has pictures, this is just so cool, I love the history of the town. I'm really into all that, and Chuck has pictures of his grandmother and sisters at the Tilton Manor when they were
Mhm.
kids.
Jeez.
Which, that place was a dowry for the Pillsburys. One of the daughters, Pillsbury
Right.
daughters, the Tilton Manor was a dowry when she got married from the
Wow.
mansion that was
Wow.
across from where I live now, that's gone now. So cool.
It
Yes,
is.
I didn't
Yeah,
aware of that.
it's just amazing.
Well, I hope the rain is stopped.
Yeah.
Yes, they drive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the minutes from our last meeting then, which will be our last order of business tonight, I think. And those were minutes of July 21st. Did everyone get a copy? And how did they look to you?
It was awful complicated, I mean, it took me quite a while to go over it.
I found absolutely no problems with it. They looked great to me. Good job.
Thank you.
I know. He doesn't get many compliments, but
It keeps muddying the water, like
I know.
tonight, what do you want?
I know. We got to beat up on him once.
We're gonna get them,
No, did anyone have a problem with these? Good.
Motion to approve is written.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Seconded.
Seconded by Kathy. Okay, without any further discussion then, all in favor? Aye. Okay, opposed? Good. And how about adjournment? Do we go there?
Motion to,
A second. I'm all over this.
Second.
I'm done.
All right, tried earlier.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night. Yeah, that one was a lot more complicated than July 21st
Thank you for
meeting.
putting up with me, I appreciate it.
No, that's all right.
Just in and-
I've done that